Alright, gonna be breaking down another ship here today. I will be breaking down the Yeong-sil. This is one of my favorite ships currently that has been made this year. Um, this particular build does make use of quite a bit of mods, so just keep that in mind. That will be a big part of this particular ship if you're building it up to spec and building it exactly the way that it's built here. The mod list for this particular build will be better flips and better snaps. That's a staple for my builds. You will also be making use of Darkstar on this build, Matilda's, as well as Tiger's Shipyard. Those will all be used here along with the larger ships mod and the ship tweaks in order to allow better merging. And I believe that should be it. Oh, and Avon Tech, just for like a few parts, we are going to need that as well. Now for this ship, it does make a lot of heavy use of better flips in order to get this done. But something that I am learning about these builds is the ships themselves they can end up having a really nice flow if you stack up their halves to be, for example, here, let me just go ahead and show you. Something that allows a really good flow for a lot of ships that I'm starting to realize is by stacking them up like so. So if you go from 1 to a 2 to a 3, I've noticed that it does a really good job at allowing blending. So for example here, and then if we were to take this down 1 as well, so we can have access to 3. So one thing I'm starting to realize, especially for this type of particular shape for ships, is that blending the halves to flow something like this does allow for a lot of very cool looking slopes that you can create, especially when using things like these decorative cargo pieces, the Panops de Gamma pieces. You could also throw in some Hope Deck caps to get a little bit of like that angle going on there, among other things. So this does allow for quite a bit of diversity when it comes to building, because you get to have all sorts of different shapes going on here. But just so you are aware, that's how this ship is done. There is a lot of different I guess like flow. It goes from like a 1 to a 2, and I believe down back to a 3 at the bottom. Yeah. So there is a little bit of trickery going on here, I guess. So yes, we will be making use of those mods. So let's just go ahead and start up at the front, and then we'll just go ahead and move our way back. So this whole little section here is actually, give me 1 moment. There we go. Alright, so let's get back to the ship. Oops. So again, this ship does make use of a lot of those mods. Let's go ahead and start up at the front. What's going on up here is that it's being offset using my favorite trick, using the Avon Tech piece. The Avon Tech piece is embedded within this Deimos hull A. That's what's going on there, and that's what's hiding the rest of this. The pieces that are being attached are just simply attached to the front of this Avon Tech piece, which allows it to move forward. You could just go ahead and attach it to there, but it's all the same length, so it doesn't really matter. But yes, the Avon Tech piece is hidden right in there, as you can see, just inside of this Deimos hull piece. Let me go ahead and see if I can grab it to get it out of the way. There you go. So yes, that's how this little section is doing that little flush deal that I like to do, especially with these Hope Tech caps. So that's what is holding that together. You're just going to attach it to the front of the hab there, and then you're going to attach these two up to the side. Oh, there is a couple more mods I almost forgot to mention. The this particular build was focused around this hab right here, the Trident Workshop hanger. So you can go ahead and find this over on the creations as well. I believe it's also on Nexus, but what it essentially is, it's just on the inside, it's just the new Rev 8 car. It's like a cool little hanger that's inside of it, and although this doesn't actually open up and show you the Rev 8, kind of like, I actually think Matilda's is actually the one that has cargo, a piece that actually lowers when you're landed. This does not do the same thing. However, it does have a Rev 8 inside the hangar when you're in the ship, and it does look pretty cool. So that's what this entire build was centered around, the idea of transporting those little buggies around for any type of expedition. We will also be making use of the one-of-a-kind ships mod. This is a really, really cool mod because it opens up new potential ways to build your ship, particularly in regards to the bays. Now, I love this mod because there is one particular bay that I have just been hoping to get, and it has been given to us thanks to this mod. So this Hope Tech 4 landing bay is probably my favorite landing bay. There's just something about it, but I always hated how it was just a top loading or bottom loaded bay. I really didn't like that because it felt like a perfect bay to be a direct entrance. And the one of a kind mod actually allows that. As you can see there, you walk directly through and you go through a door that's located in the back. It looks a lot nicer. Once you get inside, the door is just like a normal door, but I mean, head cannon's the best cannon, so you can just pretend that there's enough room there for another Rev 8, what have you. So this ship is supposed to be carrying at least 3 Rev 8s. There's going to be one in that hangar, one in that hangar, and then one being held within the Hope Bay. And if we're to headcanon that it's large enough, that hangar door right there, if it's large enough for the Rev 8, then we could probably even put one more inside of the cargo hall. But this was all designed to just be a long transport ship for long journeys. Very, very long journeys. Hence the 16,000 cargo, 16K cargo that it has. I believe that is it. But yes, I would highly recommend looking at one-of-a-kind landing bays because, as you can see here, it has a backwards landing bay for the Hope 4. It also has the one that I just showed you, the one with the hangar direct entrance. It has a side. It has a side loading door here as well for the Nova Galactic, so that could be pretty useful. It does have one in the 4, and it has a direct entrance, kind of like the other type one. It has the side loading one, but it comes in through the top. So instead of having to find some other weird way of like connecting it this way, then connecting it to a hab, and then so you can actually go up, this one will just directly take you up there. Pretty useful, among other things. And it even allows you to just have random doors that you could just enter your ship through. So it actually won't require a landing bay. You could build much smaller ships using these one-of-a-kind screen doors. But anyway, that I digress. Let's go ahead and get towards this particular ship. So if we started up at the front, we can go ahead and start with, let's start with this little section here. So if we just grab ourselves a little nose cap, we're just going to go ahead and place that there. There is 2 obliterator beams stacked into one. I just preferred a one gun look. I didn't want 2 side by side. I just wanted it to be one to make it feel like a much more powerful cannon rather than 2 separate cannons. That was the feel that I was going for with that. Once we go ahead and place that, we're going to go ahead and place 2 of these Dark Star bellies here. Dark Star will be a necessary mod unless you're really good at just merging a bunch of landing gears together, in which case you're probably going to have to merge a lot of Nova Galactic gears because that one provides the highest landing thrust over any of the other gears, and this particular build does not really make use of Nova Galactic gears, as you can see. So I would recommend Darkstar. It's very useful, especially for landing gears, if you want to have a ship with like 10K cargo, but you also don't want to put on like 1 billion gears just to make the ship flyable. So starting there, we're going to go ahead and place 2 of the Shroud versions of the Dark Star. The middle section, not any of the sides, just the middle section. Right there behind the Shroud Nose Cap 2E. We do have a equipment plates that we attached to the side of the gear here. It's just a regular standard equipment plate, but thanks to the Better Snaps mod, we're able to flip it rather than it just being down. And this is located on both sides of the ship, so we can go ahead and put that over there. Now, there is another piece here. It is a Deimos Wing B that is hidden within the 2 gears here. The reason why it was hidden is so I can have a nice smooth surface right there, rather than this little thing going on. I didn't like the way that looked, so I added a third to make it more smooth, as you can see. And all you got to do is just simply grab this. If we were to just bring it as close as we can, right there, select the entire piece, and when you select it, it'll snap into place. And now we have that third placement option right there, that third snap point. We're going to go ahead and take some Deimos bellies that are just flipped backwards, just place them all where they're supposed to go. And now we have that smooth belly going on there. Just above that, we are going to place this cargo hull. It will be a 2x3 cargo hull, and we will send it back just slightly, just a little bit, so we can go ahead and place some of these other pieces there. This Deimos Spine A is not necessary. It's a redundant piece that was stuck under there that I completely forgot about. So this could get omitted. That's not necessary. We're going to go ahead and take the Shroud Nose Cap E and place it right there. We are also taking a Hope 11 Docker and placing it right there. This is a front-loading ship. We are going to also place, we're going to come up here to the top of this little section here, so we can go ahead and start with the little Hope Tech assembly that I got going on here. So let's go ahead and grab, let's see what we can do actually, because it will require us to go all the way back here to get to that in order to bring it up forward. So let's go ahead and ignore that for now, and let's keep moving backward. This Hope Tech nose is also kind of a redundant piece, but I did it out of just I needing to make the ship feel a little bit more solid. So just by simply placing it there, it was just to make the piece kind of look like one coherent piece rather than 2 separate pieces. It just kind of bugged me that it was had a little bit of a split there. So that's the only reason why that's there. It's not entirely necessary, just so you're aware. We will be taking these decorative Protectorate Osiris and shields, and we will be placing them over here on the side. These were placed solely just for the looks of them. I like the way that these look on the sides of ships. Kind of just looks like good, really good greebling. That's the reason why I ended up picking them. What's going on here is the Deimos Wing E and the Hope Tech Marker A are both sharing a snap point right there. And again, all you have to do is just grab this, place it there, grab the Hope Tech marker, get it as close as you can, select all, and when you pick it up, it'll go ahead and snap. This also does make use of some decorative light scythe suppressors. I just like the way they looked. Kind of looks like more radar tech. I love me some good old radar tech, and that's the only reason why that's there. You're just going to go ahead and mirror that on the other side as well. Right there. Now, we're also going to be taking a Deimos Skeg A and a Deimos Skeg B. These 2 pieces are going to be placed right here. And these pieces, of course, we're used to seeing more in this configuration. It's only supposed to stay like this, but then if we just move over a few pieces, we can get the little side versions when we go through the variants. Same for the Skeg B. And we're going to place this other Wing E right on top, thanks to Better Snaps. We're going to be taking a little bit further back. These pieces here, all of these are actually just lined up along with the hangers themselves. So we can go ahead and just grab a set of 4, a length of 4, and we're going to go ahead and put them back here as well. They are going to be lining up with this little part here. So just place it as close as you can, select all, and let it snap into place. And that's to create like that nice little groove there, and it fits perfectly into that section there. I kind of felt it looked really good the way it kind of could just open up and release the rebates onto the floor. And we are going to be using those Trident Workshop hangers, so go ahead and grab that with a door facing off to the side with that little nose cone right there. Just place it right there. We are going to be taking 2 as a matter of fact. Grab another one on the opposite side and place it right there. So now we have Trident Workshop, Cargo Hall. Off to the sides of one of the Trident Workshops is going to be both a standard workshop as well as an armory. I kind of figure that after, you know, your little journey out into the world, you're probably going to end up looking for, you're going to be looking for, or rather dropping off a lot of your gear. So that's the reason why I placed this here. I felt it looked pretty good overall. So the placements of these is just so, you know, whenever you're loading onto the ship, it's going to go directly over here to the cargo hall, which then you'll have access to both these hangars. You'll have a workshop and an armory to dump off any other loot that you may have picked up on your journey out there. We're going to be taking the Deimos Wing E's as well. This is a redundant piece. We can go ahead and omit this. I believe the only reason why I picked it up was so there can be a better flow, specifically right here. I didn't like that little hole going on there, so that's the only reason why this piece was there to begin with. So that could be omitted just to save you part count, because remember, the more parts that are in a ship, the more likely that your game's going to have a little bit of trouble loading. It doesn't like when there's too many pieces. It likes it when there's less pieces overall. And as you can see, it flows a little bit better. It doesn't just have that weird, awkward hole. And if you could change it to be more fitting to the colors here. Now, moving to the farthest back, it will be the first conversion hallway using Matildas. This will be just behind the last of the hangars here. And the door will be off to the left side of this ship. The side with the docker, as you can see there. Now, just underneath this little Matildas aerospace hab, we're going to go ahead and place the one-of-a-kind Hope Tech, the extra large version. And this is so we have access to that. And this will convert a 3 wide section here. So if we go ahead and grab this is a cargo hall, a 2x3. Place it back there so it's a direct connection to the one-of-a-kind Hope Sec Bay, the extra large. Off to the sides of the cargo hall will be these right here. It will be the Stroud Cap C flipped upside down facing backwards. Again, we're used to seeing it more like this in this configuration, but just move 2 variants over and you will have it flipped upside down. And we're going to be having them face that way. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and grab another mess hall. The door will be the furthest forward on the rightmost side. That's where that is. Place it right there on the top. On the fronts of these little sections right here, those snap points, we're going to place a Deimos belly and then a Dark Star. The Tayo belly gears are the ones that we're using here. We're just going to place them right there. You will also be taking a Deimos belly into a Deimos Skeg B, into another Deimos belly gear, and finally into a Skeg A facing backwards. This simply goes in the back right here. Very nice. Alright. Moving on to further sections of the ship, we're going to go ahead and take two more sets of gears. It will be a tile belly into a Stroud belly gear, and then a Nova Cowling 2LPF little assembly here. And in the back of all that will be a Deimos belly aft facing backwards. And we will be putting these on the side of the ship right here. This starts from the dark star belly, and then the I apologize about the mic issues. I have a really bad mic. Let me see if I can find a workaround. I'm thinking the connection is probably what's the issue. Let me see if this actually works. If I can not drop everything. Let me see if this is actually working. Hello. Okay, it is. Let me just hold this up. All right. So let's go ahead and continue. This Deimos belly, again, is just behind the Stroud Cap C. And this is connecting right there, okay? That's how that whole little section goes. Move you off to the side there. We will also be using the hauler 40-ton cargo hold, the 1270 version. They are simply flipped upside down like this to create a little stack. These will simply go off to the sides of the Dark Star Stroud bellies. Right there. Let's see. Having audio issues. I don't know why. How about now? Did this fix it? Seems to be. Okay. Oh man, I think it's a connection. I think it's both my connection and probably the fact that I'm streaming. Let me get out of here. All right. Well, anyway, might have to redo this, but you know, we'll see what's going on. What's going on here is another protective shield, decorative shield, and then a Hope Tech and a Horizon weapon mount. That's just all connected right there. Again, just for grooving, so everybody wants there. today seems worse for some reason. We are going to be taking a HopeTech Cap A. And these are just being placed directly on top of the ship right there. That's all. And then same for underneath. We are going to be using the underneath HopeTech caps in the exact same spot. Just like that. Okay. We will eventually be moving to the top once we get over to that little section. And as a matter of fact, let me see here. Okay. Yeah, that'll do. Alright. So we're going to go ahead and also take this Matilda's four-way. It is going to be specifically the 2-story high one. We're going to go ahead and place this right over here. That's going to go right there. Okay? Let me grab these. Set that away really quick. And then place that there. Nice. Okay. Now, in the very front of this little section here, heading out this way, we're going to be using a Deimos Engineering Bay B right here in the center. And then a Deimos Engineering Bay A. Again, whenever you're building these ships, it doesn't have to be too spec. You could just replace these with more useful HABs. But again, I like to build my ships to feel like they fit within the realm of their field. So this is a research ship, so I feel that it should have more engineering bays, cargo halls, and stuff like that, rather than, you know, command stations and things of that nature. I try to make them feel like they make sense. So if you're having a research ship, there's probably going to be an infirmary on there. But if you're flying like a fighter, then it would have more offensive type HABs, like a battle station, armory, control station, stuff like that. I don't know. What have you. Personal ships would probably have just the captain's quarters and such. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and start with the top here now, okay? We are going to take a little assortment of Deimos Spine A, Deimos Spine C, a flipped Deimos Spine C, and then a last Deimos Spine A. All of this will go right here. There are a few weapons that are on this ship that are purely decorative, that from a headcanon standpoint is what I was trying to use them for. So for example, while this is just an actual laser weapon, I'd like to headcanon that it's just like some type of like extra camera, you know, to help out the crew themselves for, you know, more vantage points. That's the reason why that's placed there. Same for these, you know, they're not really suppressors, they're more just like fake radar items. The real weapons are going to be these missile launchers, a double set of exterminator cannons here, which is rather easy to double up if we just go down. Dark Star does take a toll on the loading because of how many pieces there are. And another reason why I like Dark Star is that you could end up having like a really good gun and then swap it out for something that, for example, I may like the Rizas, but I want them to have like the look of these disruptors, for example. You could do that. That's why I like Dark Star. It's got some really good parts like that. Let's go down here to the C class. Let's grab those exterminator cannons. Or the obliterator, sorry. And I am using the standard single shot version. I highly recommend looking more into single shot versions if you all haven't, just because they are extremely fun to use. They are typically a lot stronger, and then for these kinds of slow ships, it honestly feels like they make sense. So that's the reason why I like doing it. What you could do here, in order to stack up 2 of these obliterator beams, a little thing that I learned off of another a builder known as J. Ramos. If you haven't looked him up, I highly recommend looking into his builds. He's got amazing stuff, and he's really good at explaining things. But you would just simply copy this, select this, and when we are going to be copying it, just bring it down so that way it creates like that second version. We could delete this workshop here, take this workshop, select it, and then select this nose cap. And what's going to happen is when we accept or click on the actual item, it should. It actually did not. And I think it's because it's snapping onto another piece down there. But anyway, just bring it up so that way they are layered on top of each other. And all you got to do is just pull this out. And now there's two of these items stacked onto each other. I don't know why weapons don't like to move, but that's how you can stack multiple weapons on the same place. Just so you can have this kind of similar effect. Again, I wanted this cannon to feel like an extra strong cannon rather than two separate cannons. So that's why I ended up just opting out for one piece there. Delete that, get out of the way, and then just replace it. I'm sure there's other easier ways to get that done, but that's the way that I like to do mine. We're going to be taking two Deimos bellies, and we're going to be placing these off to the side right here. And they're sticking to the sides of these halves here to create that really good flow that you're seeing going on there, the way it slopes down like that. We're going to be making a lot of use of these decorative Panoptes gamma containers. They're just flipped upside down. We're going to be taking a whole slew of them. And these are all going right here, off to the sides of this little section. It's all going to be placed there. Moving up here to the fronts. Again, we are making use of this Avon Tech piece here. We're going to go ahead and place that right there. And once we do, we're going to go ahead and take some of these Hope Tech caps. And these pieces are going off to the side of the Avon Tech piece here. That's all that's happening. So just, we would grab one of these, place it off to the side there, and then just connect the rest forward. That's how that's going to end up being built going forward there. These two Hope Tech pieces, this is a way that you could probably move this all forward. There was another redundant piece back there. But you could just simply snap on the Deimos Hole A to two of these Hope Tech pieces here, like so. Just simply snap it forward. You can grab this Deimos cowling, place it right there, select the entire assembly, and when we select it, it'll snap forward. This way, what we can do is, it'll be a lot easier when we're trying to fit the Deimos hole to blend in with this, like so. And the reason why it's doing that is because that snap point is being forced onto the back end of that snap point right there. So that's what's going on, okay? The video game logic behind it. Placed it there. So now it's like flush. We're going to be taking two of these Hope Tech caps. Both of these are just connecting onto this one and this one right here. The only reason why I did it was, again, there's just certain gaps that I wanted filled, and that's the reason why I placed it here. It just felt like a more solid piece. It just made more sense to me. Those are technically redundant pieces, but why I removed it again was kind of like on the Athena. I didn't like the gap. I thought it looked strange. So I went and replaced it with the Hope Tech caps. You could place it on the bottom too if you want to make it all come together. Now moving back here, these pieces are also redundant, I believe. Let me go ahead and check. Put that there. Select all. Bring them down. No, they're not. Okay. So, yes, you're just going to be placing them there like that. So that way there's that flow that you see going on there. I did think about bringing it up to the front, but then it kind of just created repeating textures. I don't like when textures repeat, and this is because that's what tends to make a lot of ships look a little wonky, is when there's just the same piece being used over and over and over and over and over again, like all visually within sight. That does tend to make things a little bit awkward to the eye. That's the only reason why I placed that right here and not up here in the front. Now moving a little bit further back, we're going to be taking a Tiger's shipyard. This particular cargo hold, because it gives you 3,000 cargo for just 270 mass. Just above it will be a Deimos belly port top, and we will also be attaching a Horizon weapon mounts and Hope Tech marker off to the side of this cargo piece there. Just gonna move these over here, right there. That is where that piece is going. Down here in this little section that we see, we're going to be taking these Deimos bumpers. That snap point right there is going to be connecting onto the side right there. Like that. So now we have a more solid little piece there. Now let's keep going. Moving to an even further back area, we are going to be taking another Matilda's Aerospace converting hab and place it right there. And we're going to be taking a battle stations, and the only reason why I picked the battle stations was just to have like some sort of like command center for this ship, since it is a rather large and expensive ship. I kind of figured that there'd be a central area where they could pilot the entire ship and make sure that everything's running smoothly. We are going to be taking a Overseer 400 bridge from Hope Tech. We're going to be taking this and placing it on the front section of this battle stations right here. We're also placing another one of those decorative light sights. This one I believe is the A-class laser. That's what's being placed there. And again, just head cannon, pretending that it's some type of like camera or whatever. Just behind this Overseer bridge, I merged both a Hauler 20T cargo hold. This one's an actual cargo piece. And a nose cap E. Both of these were placed just behind the cockpit here. And that's so we can kind of create that stripe that the research division is known for. Off to the sides of this Matilda's Aerospace, on that particular snap point and that snap point right there, we are taking a Deimos Spine C along with functional disruptor auto alpha turrets. Those are going to be placed off to the sides right here. There is very, very light clipping going on in there, but it's not enough to actually notice. I think you can actually ignore it. But if the turrets are facing in certain directions, the turrets may end up going into the actual hab. So just so you're aware. But there is a light clipping going on there, but very, very unnoticeable. This Avon Tech intake is simply going to be placed right there on top of the converting hab. To the side of this Overseer bridge, we are going to be using this nose cap B, placing it right there. So it's off to the side. And then off to the side of this piece right here, we are going to be using the Ulysses ME3 tank right here. It's placed right there. Now, moving onward, I believe not too sure why that piece is there. I think those ended up being redundant pieces. But regardless, we're going to go ahead and take the Deimos bumpers, the ends. These are going to go on the ends connecting right there. And the way that these are connected is just off to that connection point and that connection point right there. But this back one is solely relying on that connection point that we can see. We will also have an infirmary here off to the side, a science lab, an all-in-one berth A, and then an all-in-one berth B, along with the living quarters 3x1. This little section right here is all connected together. Go ahead and grab the doors. There will be some left behind, but we'll pick them up on our way out. And all these should actually be one up, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. So let's go ahead and take these two pieces here. These will go off to the side right here, just above the Nova Cowlings, to create an extra little bit of flow. These two, let's go ahead and select this entire hab assembly, and it's placed like this. Like so. So there'll be the mess hall. There's going to be a mess hall right here, into a science lab, an all-in-one berth, a living quarters, another all-in-one berth, and then an infirmary right there. Let me grab the doors really quick. I believe that's all the doors. Oh man. Okay, I'm in a little bit of an oopsie here. Let's grab those pieces back again. Bring them over yonder. There we go. And let me show you the door selection. So there will be doors placed right there and right there. Those will be accessed via the mess hall. The mess hall will go back here into this living quarters. And in the back ends of the living quarters, specifically like in the middle, is going to be the doors off to the side for these two all-in-one berths. Take all of this and then just place it back where it was supposed to go. Like so. Now let's go ahead and continue moving onward. We will be taking another hauler 40-ton cargo hold and then a Deimos belly port top. The way that this piece is connected is these two Deimos cargo pieces are actually connected onto the sides of this hab here, the battle stations. And then the Deimos bellies are connected onto the top of the habs right here. So it goes from Deimos belly attached to the 2x2. The hauler cargo piece connected to the 2x2. And then these Deimos bellies connected at the top of these two habs here. The same situation is going on right here in this little section. We're going to be taking a couple of the hab pieces. This one is being placed on top of this hab here. And this one is connecting to the side of the battle stations. That's how that's connected. Grab these, put them over here as well. Just like that. The Deimos bellies are also kind of falling under the same section as well. They are being connected to the cargo pieces there. That's how that's all connected. Just select all, grab it, and when it goes up, it'll connect. Like that. Take these two Hope Tech caps. And these are going to be placed right there to follow along with this Hope Tech cap here. And that's just so there's a little bit more of a merge going on rather than just a weird sudden stop like that. That's the only reason why I put that piece there. It's just so it can keep going. Kind of felt like one solid piece. Looking towards the back over here, we're going to be taking a SA4330 engine and placing it in there, right next to the back end of the Stroud all-in-one berths. And placing them there. We're going to take this Stroud nose cap facing backwards. It's going to be placed right there. I'm sorry, one higher. There we go. It ended up getting lower again. Let me just make sure it's in the right spot. Yeah, it is. Okay. We're going to be taking that piece, placing it just behind this whole little section here. We will be taking a Avon Tech dish top, placing it on that side. And then a TIG Assurance T90 shield generator, which is this entire piece, and the antenna, the Hope Tech marker. We're going to be placing both of these right next to it. Off to the sides, right here in the back, connecting to this shroud piece will be these two fuel tanks to allow that to continue moving forward. I only kept that on one side, not on both. That's just an aesthetic choice for a little bit more character, you know, just on some side, not all. Behind these two cargo holds is another section of the Deimos belly, and then another little assembly of the Hope Tech pieces. And these Hope Tech pieces are doing the exact same thing as what's going on here. It's connecting to this Hope Tech piece here and the back end of this cargo hold as well. That's what this whole little assembly is going on. There is also a decorative suppressor here, the ballistic LCTB. That one you can find by going over to the weapons decorative section, going over to the EMs, the EM weapons. Where is it? Here it is, EM, and picking this one right here. That's just for more extra greebling. I actually found that certain weapons look pretty good for greebling. If you're going for something like this, more of an industrial ship. Kind of just feels like more antenna equipment stuff. That's the only reason why I picked that. And that's going to flow from here, okay? And we are copying the exact same thing on the other side. Right there. Ooh. No, that's correct. Okay. We will be taking this brig. I did add a brig onto it. It kind of felt like something that may be useful for the people on this ship. This one will be placed right in there, just behind the battle stations. I'm placing it right there. This is going underneath this little Hope Tech cap, or the Shroud cap here. Take two of these fuel tanks. This ship does have a lot of fuel. It was a little bit overkill, but I kind of figured I needed to add more weight in order to bring the mobility down all the way up to 26. I did not want the ship to feel fast and maneuverable. This ship is a research ship. It's long, it's meant to be heavy, and it's not meant to be a fighter. So that's the reason why the mobility is so low. You could always increase it if that's what you're into, but I like making my ships feel a certain way. That's the only reason why I built that way. It's entirely up to you how you decide to build that. Now off to the sides right here, specifically in this section, is where we're going to be connecting some fuel tanks. We will be taking these 700-ton HE3 tanks, and we're going to be placing them, again, right here. Okay. And then we are also taking these Poseidon engines and placing them just in front of those pieces as well. I believe... Let me just make sure... I need to make sure it's all in the right place. So yeah, it is a little bit higher. Okay, so these Poseidon engines should be connecting the bottommost snap point right there to the top of that snap point right there, like so. Okay. Same for the other side. Grabbing it, bringing it over here on the top. These are forcing that connection point again by using the equipment plates and this Hope Tech marker. The bottom of the Hope Tech marker is combining with that section there in order to create this caged look. I thought it looked pretty cool. Looked like a Nice little piece going on there. I thought that was a nice look. I actually got this idea off of another builder. I forgot who it was, but they did this. They flipped it backwards and covered a fuel tank, and I thought that was a really good look. So, little idea for you for your builds there. Same for this side. Grab it, put it onto the top section. Again, an equipment plate and a Hope Tech pipe facing backwards. So the top part is facing towards the ship, the inner part of the ship. Put it on the top part right there. Behind this whole little section here, the reason why this was done, and let me just make sure. Yes, okay, correct. So there is a Deimos Wing B section going on here, and what's going on is we are going to be using this section here, so that way we can place this Matilda's reactor in the center, because we won't be able to do it unless we have access to that, because again, we're forcing a snap point with this little shield back there, because otherwise it won't go. It'll just offset off to the sides, and we don't want it on the bottom one either, because that's where the grav drive is going to go. So that's what's going on there. So go ahead and take these two, place them right there, so that way the ends, that snap point is connected to that snap point. Put them right there in the middle, like so. Take your Matilda's reactor, the shielded miniaturized beam. It's a C-class reactor with 60 power. Take one of these decorative shields and place it on the back end right there. Select all. And we're going to be connecting it to the center point right here. Then move it back. So that way it's posted up right there. Take this. I think it's, what is that? Is that I think that's a Tiger shipyard. Yes, it is. It's a grav booster. Okay. This grav booster is from Tiger shipyards. If you see, my jump range is at 58 light years. I felt like that was a pretty good number for a ship like this, since it's meant to be a long, deep space type ship. You know, this is for long travels, and this is for teams attempting to survey potentially habitable planets and settling down in order for one of our bases to be set up for Nova Corps. This particular grav booster is going to be connected to this little side right here, like so, and just meeting these two engines in the middle. That's all that's happening there. And then for the grav drive, same thing, just simply move it up and place it there. And now that whole little assembly is already done. Now we're going to go ahead and take a decorative fast ignition reactor, a HopeTech A cap bottom, and another HopeTech A cap bottom all together right there. These pieces are just used solely for greebling, that's all. It was not meant for anything else. Take your Deimos bellies along with Deimos Wing E, connecting onto that fast ignition reactor, and these are all going to go right here. So the way that you can see this whole thing happening, let me make sure. We can take two of these HopeTech caps facing upside down, placing it right there, so that way it's connected. And the reason why I use these reactors is actually to cover up the bottom of the fuel tanks there. So just place those two HopeTech pieces there. Take a reactor flipped upside down along with a Deimos belly aft. And we're going to place these right there. The Deimos belly aft is connecting to the bottom of the fuel tank there. So that's how that assembly is working. Okay? And then these two pieces that you're seeing here is just simply going to snap onto the side of that reactor. And that's what's going on there. Same for this side, just mirror it over, and you're good to go. That is the entire ship. That's all that's going on. And that's the build. So let's go ahead and give another quick tour. I do have a video up already, but let me just go ahead and show you what the inside is going to look like for this build. be warned, since it is about 100 some meters long, it will extend out from your platform, so it may also get in the way. That is one thing for you to note, okay? But anyway, coming over here, you can see there's the little Rev 8 hangars there. And what I think is so cool about this particular hangar, I don't know if the other hangars are just as wide, but I do like this about the hangars, is that they are just large enough to fit one of these in there, which always felt cool. The only thing is, though, is that you can't really get out while they're in it, so, you know, headcan, that's all we can do. Anyway, leave that there. Let's go ahead and go inside. Upon entering the ship, you are immediately entering the cargo bay, cargo hall. Kind of figure, you know, you're dropping stuff off and whatnot. You're going to be dumping it all in here. It'll be immediate access so you can get to where you need to be. You know, this is where all the stuff's going to be. Maybe field equipment, you know, things like that. Let's come up here to the top. And here we're in the mess hall. I could not find a better spot for this because I thought of back here, but back here is also how you access the infirmary. So this is kind of like a central hub area. You'll come up here into this little mess hall for everyone to meet in. You come over here, there is access to the infirmary in order to take care of any of the passengers during their flights. Over on this side is going to be a science lab for doing science. You know, moving forward is going to be towards the front of the ship, and we'll go ahead and explore that a little bit later. But moving back here is actually where the living space is. Kind of felt like it made sense because you come up here from the cargo hall into this little mess hall, and then you could just move simply over here. There is a nice little living space. This ship is designed to carry quite a big crew, so you will have this really, really nice living space. Open up to the sides here on both sides, and these are both the sleeping quarters. So you have a nice little meeting area for a lot of people to kind of just talk in, and then you'll have your little rest area for your crew. That's all available for them. Moving towards the front of the ship where all the meat and bones are. Over here is where we will find the Rev 8 hangars. These are very, very cool hangars. And as a matter of fact, if you use them on your build, just know it has all of the workbenches within the actual hab itself. Look at that. I think this is super cool. I think it's freaking badass. So, you know, just something to consider. I would highly recommend downloading it because that's just cool, man. I really hope that this guy figures out how to make them like lower. I think that would be so cool. Even if they're just decorative Rev 8s, just having them there is really cool. You move over here and there's just another hangar. You know, they're taking care, maintaining their Rev 8s during their long trips whenever they're flying. Over here you have access to your extra bays or your extra habs in order to just dump stuff in. You can dump your guns over here. Maybe you're using it to actually supply your vehicles for some type of expedition. That's what I kind of figured they would be there for. And also just to dump some loot in case you end up going on a trip. And then a workshop, you know, just to work on some stuff, maybe some components for the actual vehicles themselves. You can just kind of take it back there and work on it. You come over here, and then you'll enter another cargo hall where I kind of figure most of the equipment for this is going to be available. And back there will be the docker. And this is sticking out through the bottom because of this large ship. Moving back here though, let's go back over here. Coming up to the top when you're going through the mess hall, you can just walk straight up. And over here is just the two engineering bays, the B and the A. They're both over here. Just kind of felt like more, you know, more of the meat of the ship, equipment, stuff like that, yada yada. I like the way that these look. Moving back here is where we can start heading towards the actual brain of the ship, the command center and whatnot. There was a wall there. It got deleted and I don't know why. But, you know, a little section here. This is the extent of the clipping. it's not really that much, like I mentioned. You could just simply put something there and hide it. But if the weapons themselves are like facing like inwards, it may end up like clipping a lot more. So just keep this in mind. This is the amount of clipping you will be seeing with with this build. You can just simply cover that up though, especially if you have buildable walls. Same for right there. And as you notice, that's the way that I covered here. You know, so you don't have to look at it. And I kind of figured, you know, they got to do security or whatever just to make sure that you are authorized to come into the brain of the ship back here. So here's your little command center where all the fun's happening. Over here, again, using the same logic on the Athena, you will be entering the ship through here, and any type of ne'er-do-wells will just get thrown in here, and there is no other way for them to get out. That was the same logic that I used. It is a bit off because, you know, it's so close to the brain of the ship, but, you know, maybe it's just for the crew in case they're being a little rowdy or whatever. I don't know. I could end up swapping that out for like a computer core, honestly. I think it would make a lot more sense. And that is actually the entire ship. Coming up here is the cockpit. So you can go ahead and fly. This one, again, is my favorite build. This one is just so cool. I think this one's probably like the best ship that I've built so far, next to my Nova Star. That one's still my absolute favorite. But let's go ahead and take a look at a little bit of the combat before we go ahead and wrap this up. This ship is kind of very dependent on the turrets. You can make use of the direct fire platform, which is just the obliterator cannon. And again, you can see how slow that turns. And that's the way that I wanted this ship to feel. It's not meant to feel fast and quick and agile. This is a big ship, and it's meant to feel heavy. That's the reason why I picked this. So again, you don't have to do this. You could opt out for other engines. Maybe you can actually cut down a lot of the weights. You don't have to use it in this particular fashion, but it is available for you, just so you know. Let's go ahead and just get into a fight over here. Now, surprisingly, this ship actually holds up pretty well, even with the minimal weapons that it tends to have, especially because of these obliterator cannons. These obliterator cannons are just absolutely crazy. Let's go over here. Also, if you've noticed, my top speed is 200, and that's all thanks to Samco. Again, make good use of Samco. That guy is so useful. Slow turner. Look at that. These guys didn't stand a chance. They're also really low level, but gone. So yeah, that's the Yeong-sil. This is one of my absolute favorite ships. It is just absolutely awesome. I love the look of it, the aesthetic of it, and this is actually going to become a staple look for some of my ships in game. But this is just such a fun ship. If you end up building it, again, everyone has access to all of my builds over on Reddit. If you do make something based off of it, or if you're just completely replicating it, I'd love to see it. That's all I gotta say. So if you end up building anything, just send me a photo. I'd love to see what you do with this.